What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Nate here. Have you been trying to decide between the Xbox and the PlayStation 5? If you've already made a decision and you think you want the PlayStation 5, let me try to change your mind. Nowadays, there's a very minor difference between these two consoles. I would argue that specs-wise and performance-wise, they're exactly the same. There has been a few things on my PS5 that I've had happen that has not happened on my Xbox, but it's few and far between. So I did have maybe like 2 or 3 crashes on my PS5. Hasn't happened in a while since firmware updates and stuff like that, but I just want to make you aware, my Xbox running solid. Biggest question I would ask myself is what kind of games do I want to play now and what kind of games do I want to be playing in the future? Now, that changes over time, but there's always a general sense of games that you like. Like, I like a lot of single player games, so I've always gravitated towards this year lately towards the PS5 because that's what it's got. I've made a list of a few games for you guys on each platform. I'm not going to go too in depth to them, just give you a few ideas. So on Xbox, games that are currently out that you could play that are even on Game Pass. We'll get more into Game Pass and PlayStation Plus comparisons later on in the video. So games that are currently out, you got the Forza series. So you have Forza Motorsport. You also have Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon is the arcade style, you're jumping around. Forza Motorsport is the one where you're racing on the tracks and stuff like that. Both are fun. Each one's for a different style of gamer. Starfield didn't live up to the hype, but you know, it's still a really good game and I think most people would enjoy it. You should definitely take the time to check it out if you already got an Xbox and you have Game Pass. For the future, there's games like Avowed, which is rumored to be coming out next year. It doesn't have a concrete release date, but I got a feeling it's going to come out mid to late this year. That's a game that's a fantasy. It's brought to you by the people that made Fallout New Vegas. If you like Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian Entertainment's making this. A game that has no real release date or anything like that. It's just nostalgic to me is Fable. Fable is one of those games where it's an RPG style. You're going through the game just based on decisions you make, whether you kill someone or don't kill someone, changes the outcome of the game as you go along. You could be evil, you could be good. One of my favorites. And then what was recently announced was Marvel's Blade. I'm excited for that one. I want to see more. I'm not sure when that one's coming out. Now on PlayStation, currently out, you got God of War 1 and God of War 2. And I will say on PlayStation, you have a lot more that's currently out that you might like. Spider-Man 2 and also Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, all these games I'm bringing up are exclusives. I'm not talking about games that are available on all platforms. Whatever one you pick, you're able to buy those. If you're ever wondering, just search the internet. It's pretty easy. Is this game exclusive? They'll tell you no, yes or no. Or go on to GameStop, and when you search the game up, it'll tell you what platforms it's available on. Same with Amazon, do the same thing. Future games for PlayStation, Wolverine, one of the ones I'm most excited for. Wolverine's always been one of my favorites since the 90s cartoon. And Rise of the Ronin. Pretty exciting game. Now, I said I was going to talk about Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. So that's both consoles streaming services basically. So you pay a monthly subscription and there's video games on there that you could download whenever you would like and play them. Both consoles offer streaming. So you can cloud game. You don't have to download the game to your Xbox or your PlayStation. You just play it over the internet, but you have to have a good internet connection. Otherwise, it's not going to work very well. So just to go through the couple differences, let's start with Xbox Game Pass. I'm not going to go super in depth. If you guys would like me to go more in depth on these, especially PlayStation, because they've got different tiers and what you can and can't get is pretty in depth. So if you want to see that, make sure to go down to the comment section and tell me. And also, while you're down there, hit the like button, the subscribe button. Really helps the channel out. I appreciate it. All right. So the price of Game Pass is $16.99. There is cheaper versions, but I'm going to tell you just to get the ultimate package. Just because it's the cleanest, easiest. You're going to get all the games. Those 2 other packages don't really matter. The $16.99, in my opinion, is worth it because every single first party exclusive. So Starfield was on there when it came out. You didn't have to pay $70. Redfall, even though it was trash, was also on there. $70. I got to try for free. So that's not free, but you get what I'm saying. You pay $16.99 instead of that. And those games came out relatively close to each other. So that's $140 I saved. So you get exclusives day one. So that means Avowed will be on there. Imagine Blade, Fable, and Xbox does have one advantage. They recently purchased Activision Blizzard. For those of you that don't know who they are, Activision is the company that makes Call of Duty. They also have a huge library of other games. They have a bunch of other games. Crash Bandicoot is one that comes to my mind. I can't really think of any others, but there's also this little company called Blizzard that's under Activision. Blizzard makes World of Warcraft, Overwatch, and a few other games. So that would be pretty cool to see a Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass. For PlayStation Plus, there are 3 tiers. The top tier, Premium, is $17.99, more expensive than Game Pass. The next package is the Essential package. That is $14.99. The Essential package, I would say, is pretty much on par with Game Pass, except for one thing. The top tier package, the Premium package, you get access to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and all those older games. The library is very small right now. I'm guessing it's kind of a headache to get games to work from the 90s, early 2000s. But on Xbox, you have the Xbox 360 and some Xbox games. Pretty rare that you see an Xbox game on there just because, again, early 2000s, probably pretty hard. And most people don't want to be playing games from the early 2000s unless it's nostalgia, and it's kind of like you turn it on, you play it for like an hour, and you turn it off. So PlayStation, to me, this is the big comparison. PlayStation has a pretty big back catalog of games. The exclusives are minimum. So they're older games or games that came out a while ago. Prime example is Horizon Forbidden West and Miles Morales are on there, but not this new Spider-Man 2. Horizon Forbidden West isn't that old, so that's good that it's on there. But to me, that's the big differences. If you want me to go more in depth, let me know down below. Now, for the designs of the consoles, a few things design-wise. One is kind of a fit. I'm going to call it that, where we try to fit it into something, into your setup, into your area. And I'm going to give this advantage to the Xbox because it's a lot smaller, a lot easier to put in places. It's a rectangle, looks really good, simplistic. I think the PlayStation does look a little bit cooler. I'm not a big fan of the design though. Fit-wise, I tried to fit this inside of my IKEA cube storage that you see in most setups nowadays. It does not fit vertically or horizontally, but does fit on top, so you could just put it up there. Here's kind of what the PlayStation looks like in a setup area. Looks pretty good. I like it vertical. I've heard it's not good for the stuff that's on the CPU to keep it cool, but the Xbox Series X, as you can see, fits pretty well into this cubby with lots of room, with the top vent still being open to cool off the Xbox Series X. I even got this cool shot of the Xbox Series X sitting next to the OG Xbox. So Grandpa is there with the grandkids. Might be great grandkids by now. Here's a few shots of them next to each other so you guys can see the size comparisons. PlayStation is significantly taller. And with Xbox, you do have the option to get the Xbox Series S, which is the slim model, the smaller one. Now that does have a graphical difference. It does not keep up with these two consoles. Not that it's terrible. If you don't have a 4K TV, that's probably your better option. If you'd like me to go more in depth on those, leave a comment down below. Let me know that you want to know more between the Xbox Series S and X. The PS5 still has the beep sound to turn on. The Xbox still has the bloop, bloop, bloop noise that it makes to turn on. Both have physical buttons, which I really enjoy. The PlayStation does have 2 ports on the front for charging your controllers because you need it. We'll get into the controllers here in a minute. Why I give the advantage to Xbox just a little bit. There's one thing with the Xbox Series X. It doesn't have any USB-C, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's pretty easy to get an option for both A and USB-C out there. Now, as far as storage goes, both of these have some pretty good options. You can always use an external drive. Just pick one up, they're pretty cheap. The only thing with an external drive that is plugged in by USB is they're going to have longer load times when you're playing the video game. So if you don't really mind that, it's totally fine. You can use those. You will notice a difference between what you install on your hard drive versus what's on that. PlayStation 5 did a smart idea by using an M.2 drive. So that's what is in most modern computers now. It's a little chip, slides into the side, and it is upgradable. You can go on to Amazon and pick up an M.2 drive that works with PlayStation 5. Take the old one out, plug the new one in, and you'll have more storage right away, and it's cheaper. So with those PlayStation ones, you can get a 1 terabyte to a 4 terabyte. The 4 terabyte is going to cost you a bunch of money, but you could get a 2 terabyte for a reasonable price, probably around 150 bucks. You could probably find one. The Xbox expansion option only has one, and it's the 1 terabyte. You can't take the Xbox and open it and put a new drive in there. You have to get this little external card that slides into the back, and the only option you have currently, which I'm guessing they're going to change soon, is a 1 terabyte extension. Now, that gives you a 2 terabyte option, because you do have 1 terabyte already on the Xbox, and now you're extending it with another 1 terabyte drive, so it gives you a full 2 terabytes. But the PlayStation, whatever stick you have, the M.2, whatever's on there, that's what you got. If you only buy a 1 terabyte drive, that's what you got. So I wouldn't suggest buying a 1. I would always buy a 2, because that'll give you enough space to where you're not uninstalling and reinstalling games every day. Design-wise, they both have options for covering the outside. Now, PlayStation actually has physical removable panels. I can pull them off and put new ones on. I want to show you guys some of those right now. Now, as far as the PlayStation goes, you do have all these console covers here that you can see. You got this midnight black, this cosmic red, which pretty close to pink, but then there's an actual pink, and the controller that matches with this is pretty good. All of these have matching colorways, even the gray camouflage up here. And as far as Xbox goes with the covers, you do have 3 options here. You have an Arctic camo, a mineral camo, and the Starfield box. These are little covers that just wrap around the outside. They go on with Velcro. They seem all right. It's not as cool as the PlayStation's removable covers, but I like my just sleek black Xbox just as much as these. These come in at $44. The PlayStation ones come at $60. As you're going to see in these videos here, I painted my PlayStation. I got a lot of heat from people on YouTube about painting the side of mine. It's mine. I do what I want with it, and I like it. I like that I got Goku and Vegeta on the side. Who else has that? Anybody else have that? Nobody. I do gotta finish painting it. But when it comes to controllers, my personal favorite is the Xbox. Why is it Xbox, Nate? Well, you know, I grew up playing Xbox, so that might be part of it, but I think offset sticks is way more comfortable and ergonomic in your hands than it is in line. I'll show you the PlayStation controller here in a second. Plus, you're gonna see a bunch of B-roll for the controllers. Now, as far as functionality, the DualSense wins. Okay, the DualSense has a touchpad here, which is used for some functions in games, as well as it's really used for like keyboard access. You can move around and click it. It's extremely nice. The DualSense also has haptic triggers, so these respond based on what item you're using. I think the best example of this is Astro's Playroom. That thing is meant to show off the power of the PS5, plus also the controller. It was built for that, but also Horizon. Any of the Horizon games use a bow and arrow in that game, and when you pull the trigger on the bow and arrow, you feel the recoil. And you can have that on FPS as well if you want to have some bounce back, but it's pretty awesome. There's other games that use it too. Customizability wise, Xbox wins. I'm going to show you guys here the Xbox Design Lab and what you can do to make your own controllers. Now, one thing I want to show you guys here is both consoles do have like an Elite series controller or something that's way more crazy, got a lot more things on it. So this is the Xbox Series Elite. This has been voted one of the best controllers ever. Functionality wise, I've heard that it has tons of stick drift problems, but I don't have one, so I can't tell you guys. Fully customizable. You can take this off, take the back off. There's buttons on the back side of the controllers. See if I can show you guys here. So you have those buttons on the back. What I do like about the Elite controller is it does have depth triggers. So if you want to pretty much mouse click, which it's not a mouse click though, because it's a dead stop, but you don't have to go as far. But this controller, it then is also really good for driving games, because driving games, you can throttle the trigger on this controller. And then you have PlayStation's DualSense controller. Same thing, it's got buttons on the back that are mappable. You can change them, do whatever you want. PlayStation does not show the back of the controller, which is interesting. Oh, there it is. Their buttons are different though. They got like these little paddles back there. The other thing that's nice with the Sony controller is these sticks are removable and you can replace them if you do get stick drift. The fact that they have that tells me that their testing did have stick drift. So on Xbox's own website, you have this Xbox Design Lab, which this lets you design and customize the heck out of your own controller. You pick which controller you want. I'm just going to design an old-fashioned one. Like I said, I'm not going to go super in depth with this. There's just different colors you can pick. You can change the back to a different color, maybe an orange and green. I don't know why you would do that. You can change to rubberized backs. You can change the colors of the triggers and everything. What's nice is the triggers actually have a metallic color to them. You can change this as well. You can change the sticks. You can change the buttons, these buttons as well, and you can even add a personalized design. And this is the regular controller. You can also design your own Elite controller, which is extremely nice. This is just a little bit of a touch that Xbox adds to customize your own setup. They need to do this with the Xbox Series X, let you have some panels or something. Hopefully that made your decision when you're buying a little bit easier. If your kids are yelling for a PS5, but there's a cheaper option with the Xbox Series S, you just got to ask yourself, do these kids really care about gaming in 4K? That's my opinion. If they don't, forget about it. Just buy an Xbox Series S. Be cheaper in the long run. In my personal opinion, I think it's all a preference thing. What it really comes down to is which game style do you like to play? Do you like single player games mixed with maybe a little bit of other stuff? Do you like Spider-Man? If you love Spider-Man, there's 3 separate Spider-Man games you can play on PlayStation. The exclusives are a little bit cooler, but Xbox will always have a place in my heart because, man, I grew up playing that console. I had the original Xbox. It's sitting here behind me. You can't see it, but it's there. I played the 360, the Xbox One, which was a disappointment. The Xbox Series X is definitely a 180-degree turn. It's a really good console. I think the big thing is if you're a parent and you're going to have a younger kid playing this, you know, an 8, 9, 10-year-old, I think Xbox is a little bit simpler to navigate. Easier to lock things and parental controls. You can even lock how long they're playing the Xbox if you really want to. PlayStation does have some of that, but not as in-depth as Xbox. So it's ultimately up to you which one you want. You can't go wrong with either one. Just matters about which games you want to play. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button, and go check out my other videos, please. I tried to do this all the time. All right, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace and love.